Okay, everybody, the conversation continues. Let's talk about the SWAC now. We got SWAC Media Day coming up in Birmingham on Tuesday. Alcorn State came out of there last year. Grambling didn't get back. It was actually Alcorn and Southern.
Yep.
So there's always kind of like, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Southern or Grambling? And Alcorn's kind of been there. Are we going to have more of the same this year? Are those the three teams to beat? Or do we have somebody who might rise up a little bit?
If you're asking me first, I called Alcorn the Beast of the East. I think it's 5 straight championships they've been to, maybe. I can't. Fred McNair is doing a great job recruiting, bringing in talented players. They've kind of taken over the East. The West has always been a toss-up between Grambling and Southern. I think in the last couple of years, Prairie View has kind of stuck their nose in there. In fact, early last year, after beating Central at the SWAC MEAC Challenge, I thought Prairie View would be the team to beat. But
we all thought.
Yeah, but somehow during the middle...
Prairie View thought.
Yeah, but somehow during the middle of the season, I talked to some guys down in Houston. They predicted it. They actually said they weren't surprised that it happened.
Thundercats turned into the Kitty Cats.
Yeah, but they started off gangbusters. I mean, they were playing D1s and taking them down to the wire and beat up on Central, who had been a serious contender in the MEAC.
Dewanya Tucker was leading.
Beat Grambling.
Beat Grambling at the State Fair Classic, and you're right. Tucker,
and that's it.
Tucker was
leading the league in rush. He was
a new Tariq Cohen. Even though at some point we're going to talk about how little guys in black college football have taken over. You're going to be 5'6", 5'7",
It's our time now, baby.
Yeah. Okay,
your time is gone.
But so I still think it's a 3-team race in the West Division between Grambling, Southern, and Prairie View. I'd like to see maybe Connell Maynard can get Alabama A&M to be more of a challenge to Alcorn.
He's got the quarterback.
He does have the quarterback.
And the running back and the receiver.
Yeah, surprisingly, the only team that beat Alcorn last year out of that division was Alabama State. What was that, a 3 overtime, 4, 5 overtime game?
Alcorn missed, every field goal they tried?
I haven't figured that one out yet, why they would lose that game as opposed to...
They fell in the Bermuda Triangle of the SWAC. I don't know.
They're running roughshod over everybody else. But no, I think the SWAC will be interesting, and it's good to have Alcorn be good again, because between Steve McNair, there was kind of a lull that Alcorn, and it came back under the coach that's now in Southern Mississippi, Jay Hobson, and then Fred McNair has continued it. So they've become the beast of the East. I expect to see them back in the championship game.
And then you got the Sauce U. We haven't even talked about them. Texas Southern University. They've
won Twitter and they've won IG.
Yes, they have.
They've won social media preseason, which is cool. But is that going to translate?
Yeah. Well, they got one of the former Florida State guys, not that other FSU. They got one of the Florida State guys. Not Francis. I don't want to mix him up. Yeah, DeAndre, the one that was on Last Chance U. So they got him. They're really excited about him. And Houston is a place. I mean, for some reason, as great of a state as Texas is for football, Texas Southern and Prairie View just really in the last 50 or so years, they've just never had a really winning reputation. Maybe it's time for them to change that between the two of those schools out there in Texas. But I think everybody's kind of looking at Connell Maynard and Alabama A&M. His second year has generally been better than his first when he's had teams. So we'll see. He's got Akil Glass back there who is one of the top quarterbacks in the SWAC, number 3 on our list. Check it out on HBCUGameDay.com. But then you also got Jordan Bentley, running back, who's trying to come back as well. And then you've got Brian Jenkins Jr., who dad's gone up to North Carolina for North Carolina Central, but now he's still back in the fold. And you got a chance to see him up close and personal at the Magic City Classic. He's talking about they're the new SWAC champs. Didn't have it last year, but I'm sure Connell Maynard was happy to see that.
Early declaration, a declaration nonetheless.
I mean, Connell Maynard came and said he was going to win a national championship, you know what I mean? And he almost did it. So I'm sure for him, he likes his players to have that, kind of mentality. Yeah. So I think that fits right in.
You know, we didn't mention in the East, we haven't even mentioned Jackson State.
Yep.
And Jackson State has a new coach. Texas Southern has a new coach.
Jackson State has a new quarterback.
And that's what I was going to get
Yeah.
you know, there's a previous guy from the SEC that came into the conference, Devontae Kincaid, and turned the conference on his ear at Grambling. They're talking about this kid maybe being equally talented or bigger, and his name is
Definitely bigger.
Jones. His last name is Jones. You know, he was a guy that they wanted at Florida.
Jalen
Jones, who's trained actually by our guy Malcolm Bell, former quarterback in North Carolina Central. He's been working with him over in Richmond. So he's a talented guy. If you go and read the research on what happened at Florida, a tumultuous semester there. He came in early, was accused of some sexual assaults. No criminal charges been brought up against him, but there was some more controversy with roommate as well. And then you get over, he decides to come to Jackson State. And I think a lot of people at Jackson State were excited. There are some people who are, really looking at, not so sure that character-wise.
But Lut, you've been around a long time. This is nothing new.
Of course not.
The original Last Chance U for a lot of these kids has been an HBCU.
Absolutely. And many of these guys that have had checkered past, been accused of things, have gone on to have great HBCU careers. Guys who are in the NFL now, like the running back that went to Georgia and ended up at Alabama State. Isaiah Crowell, Marcus Dixon out of Hampton. There's been any number. And there's always been a place that folks can come back, so to speak, come home when they've been cast away or cast out in other situations. So
he's got to be on a short leash, though. I mean, with the allegations that he had against him, he's got to be on a short leash, though. They're going to have to make sure.
This will be it if there's
anything, if he looks wrong.
Of impropriety.
So I think it's going to be interesting. Anytime you get that kind of talent coming into the league
as a freshman,
and then he didn't play at all.
He
never got on the field, so he doesn't have to sit out or anything. But it's like they had a kid up in Morgan State. They were predicting that he was going to come in and be a Kincaid guy, and he never panned out. He actually lost his starting job before the season was over. Coach stuck with him as long as possible, but they were about 0-5 by the time he made the change.
Same thing happened at Tennessee State.
Exactly.
Comes in from Florida at quarterback.
That's right.
Looked good. And
he ended up as a wide receiver before he left. So that's going to be an interesting development. I mean, whether he's going to be the kind of game changer that could vault Jackson State from maybe middle of the pack in the East to maybe contending against Alcorn State. But right now, Alcorn State just has so much, I think, strength in terms of experience. They have the returning offensive player of the year. They have what should have been, in my opinion, last year, the defensive player of the year coming back in Terry Whittington, the linebacker, the guy who had like 5 or 6 sacks in one game.
Right.
I've actually picked Whittington as my number 1 pro prospect out of the SWAC for Street and Smith magazine. So I think they have really, Fred McNabb really built a good program there, and I'd be surprised to see anybody kind of take them down, but it should be an exciting race.
Is that good for the SWAC to always kind of have that small handful of teams that are dominant, or could they use a dose of parity down in the Southwest?
Well, I think, you definitely have your teams that you lean on there, Southern and Grambling, but also, Alcorn State has been doing great, but in the state of Mississippi, Jackson State is the program historically that has been, you get your Walter Paytons, you get your Jackie Slaters all the way up to the 90s and everything like that. And, a lot of people were upset about it. They get a lot of TV time for a team that didn't win many games. I think they got as many TV slots more than they won games last year. So, people are, kind of feeling a certain way about that. But, it'll be interesting to see if them and Prairie View are worth the TV time that they're going to be getting from the 4-letter network. So,
he asked you, is it good? I think it's good because it's always good to spread the wealth around. For me, as a reporter, I get tired of seeing the same teams win over and over again. I want to see somebody new interject themselves into the mix. So everybody has kind of been up and down in the SWAC. Mississippi Valley was up at one point.
But Lord, they've been down for a long time.
Down in the Delta.
You know, and obviously Jackson State was up. Grambling was up as, you know, like the premier program in black college football. And then they hit rock bottom. Yeah, I mean, defections and canceling games. And fortunately, they came out of that. And Broderick Fobbs has done a great job of bringing Grambling back as a premier program. But no, I love to see Texas Southern pull off upsets. I loved it when Prairie View under Henry Frazier won the championship after losing a national record 80-some games in a row. He really brought them back.
The SWAC is the one league where the Texas teams are the worst teams. I don't understand how that works, but
yeah. All right, about a minute to go in this segment. Prediction time. Who is going to be in the Celebration Bowl representing the SWAC?
I'm gonna go with Jaguar Nation, Southern University, SU. I think they've got Ladarius Skelton. He's a talented player. They've got some other guys coming back as well. So, and I'm sure they would like for them to get in there for the travel aspect of it. So, I'm picking the Jaguar Nation. Sorry, Alcorn.
Deshaun Waller, running back. All conference, probably player of the year candidate. Noah Johnson, quarterback, player of the year candidate. Terry Whittington, player of the year candidate on defense. I'm going with Alcorn State.
Old guys think alike. We're going to see more of the Braves here in Atlanta.